Welcome to the launch episode of Top 5 with Nick. It is a seasonal episode where me and two guests join me and we go through our top 5s of any particular topic. Each season we'll be covering a different topic. Season 1, considering we're all gamers, I decided to do gaming topics. So launch episode, so we're going to be doing launch games. Today I am joined by Dylan Blight.
Hello everybody.
And Ciaran Marchant.
G'day, g'day.
You're not allowed to say that, you're not Australian.
I am, actually. I've got a piece of paper that says I am.
Fake news.
Wow.
Topical.
Rough.
That's alright. You're honorary.
You're welcome.
Alright, so on my show there are no rules. If you consider it in your top 5, then it's allowed. So there's things on there like games that were released on the platform before or anything like that. If anything comes up, it's no holds barred, whatever you feel like.
Just make your argument for it at the time.
Exactly. You can't say something like Last of Us is #1 launch game for PS3 because it was in the PS3 launch release window.
Yeah. It's outlandish to say.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
I feel like if you listen to either of the Pleasure Explosion episodes that were top 5s, it's just the same rules.
Yeah, bit of history. Like, this is a spin-off of the very best episodes of Pleasure Explosion, the top 5s.
The best episodes, oh.
The very best.
Okay.
That is irrefutable.
I think they're good ones. I like listening to people's top 5s. I like reading people's top 5 lists.
Me too.
So, I like that. I like talking about lists. I like making lists.
I like statistics, so there we go. I personally don't have my top 5 numbered. If you wish to list yours in order, you certainly can. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to start with you, Dylan. What's your first or number 5, whatever, however you want to do it?
I'll intro my thing. So I wasn't trying to make a list purposely with only games I'd played. I was open-minded to looking when I googled like launch game lists and I looked for every console. I was willing to make a list of launch games that were good games, but I didn't actually play them at launch time. If that made sense.
I was thinking that too, but I figured I'd rather make mine more personal than...
I went into it open, but then I just ended up making one with stuff I actually did play at the launch time or close to launch experience, because there was like something on here that I didn't play until like 6 months down the track. And there's other stuff that I played at friends' houses when they got the consoles.
Yeah.
And I didn't, but that still counts. On that note, my number 5 is a PS3 game. I didn't get a PS3 until like a year and a half, 2 years into its release. I knew someone who got a PS3 at release date for some reason.
Rich motherfucker.
They're really not. Really, it's just like literally every cent they had in their life, they decided to use poorly. Very, very poorly. Didn't buy a car for 2 years after this or something. Like, very bad decision. But the game is Resistance: Fall of Man.
Very
interesting choice.
Good choice.
I love the Resistance franchise. I think I've never been a huge first-person shooter fan at all. I was never huge into any of the ones on the PS2. Like, I remember playing Killzone. Everyone loved that back in the day, the original one on PS2.
Yep.
Didn't really care. Never really got into Call of Duties. My favorite first-person shooter up until a point was Medal of Honor, was it Frontline or whatever that was on?
Yeah, Allied Assault.
Yeah, which was fantastic.
Allied Assault, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, yeah.
But I never really cared for any of them because most of the stories didn't really grab me. Most of the themes didn't really interest me. Whatever. Run around with guns, shoot things. Resistance: Fall of Man, it was the story, it was the setting, it was the theme, end of world, alternate timeline, aliens, cool. Like, it was just a mixture of really, really stuff that interests me. And of course, we're in the PS3 era now, where we're hitting the technology to be able to tell more cinematic storylines.
Yep.
And I remember the first time I played Fall of Man, it was that type of experience where you're like, oh shit, next gen, we're here. What's going on, Chimera, you son of a bitch? Just like punching you in the face. So yeah, Resistance: Fall of Man.
Did you have any experience with the multiplayer where it was something astonishing for the time? It was like 50 players or something like that?
Really?
Yeah, it was heaps.
I don't even remember the
Yeah,
first
no,
was
the
30 on
multiplayer was
30
like
or
a
something
ridiculous
like that.
number.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous number, I remember.
Remember the second? I played a bunch of Resistance 2's multiplayer. There's only one trophy I don't have in Resistance 2, and it's one multiplayer one where you had to get like 100,000 or like 10,000. No, that seems like really, really high. It was like 10,000 kills online in the multiplayer, and I was like, no, it's just like that's a lot of time. That's
Yeah.
If you look at the end of matches and like even the people coming first are getting what? If you're really, really kicking ass, like 20 to 30 kills a match.
Yeah.
That's so many matches to play. I got but I did play enough multiplayer number 2 to get the other ones, just not that one.
Yeah.
But
That's fair.
fuck.
It was at a time too where broadband wasn't really as household as everything else too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never had on the PS2. I had what was it? It was a Battlefield or something like that. It was one of those games.
Yeah.
I had it where you could like switch between different characters, but to play online, it was the game that came with the like
Oh, the network adapter, yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But I got it secondhand, and I just got the game secondhand just to play it. And never had the network adapter to play online or anything like that. I just remember it being this object of obscurity, like, oh, the network adapter can play games online. That's
Funny
really weird.
story about that too is like when I got to launch PS3 with the backwards compatible one. I remember putting in Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence with the online mode and playing that, and thinking, how do I navigate this archaic fucking clunky interface try to connect online? But I did get some games online, which was alright.
Did you play the first Resistance?
I did. I got.
Either of you play it? Like it?
Yeah, I
Or-
loved it.
Oh yeah,
It was,
I really enjoyed it.
I really liked that different to like take on World War II in that time period, and just seeing how they integrated like that new alien technology into the games eventually was really interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I feel like a lot of people weren't so hot on the first one. It wasn't until the second one that people actually came around on this franchise, I suppose. But a lot of people probably missed it because it was a launch game, and then most people didn't get their PS3s till years later.
Exactly.
And at that point, it was like, what is this game? I've got Uncharted to play and whatever
Yeah.
else.
All right, Ciaran, over to you.
Okay, so my list is heavily defined by the era of games I grew up with, I guess, because I didn't really start gaming till the PlayStation 1 N64 kind of period of time. So
Yep.
it's when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's very judged by that. So my number 5 on the list was Rayman for the PS1.
Interesting.
Because I remember loving the crap out of it. My first console in the house was a PlayStation 1 that I can remember, I
Yep.
think. And I can remember playing the first level of Rayman over and over and over and over again because A, I was terrible, but B, I think you had to use codes to get to the different levels, and I can never
Yeah.
remember the codes. I loved the art style of that game, the colorfulness of it. It was extremely different. Even just Rayman's design himself, with it was this character that was disjointed, didn't really have anything connecting his hands and his feet and his head, and just like the cool little style of just like using his hair to fly around with.
Yeah.
I really love that art style, and Rayman grew into a game that I really loved, and then with Rayman 2 and Rayman 3 that came out that kind of changed the play style, it still is a game with a very special place in my heart with playing it. Did either of you two play Rayman?
I've never played a Rayman in my life.
I've played 1, 2, can't remember 3, Raving Rabbids.
That doesn't
the,
count.
Mario Rabbids.
the side-scrolling ones that they put out a couple of years ago.
Which
whatever
were
those
apparently
two
really
called.
good, but I never went to and never played.
They
But,
are really
Wasn't
good.
Rayman always side-scrolling?
well, no, Rayman was side-scrolling for Rayman 1, and then 2 and 3 became like a
3D
third-person...
Three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Third-person world, and then, it's gone back to side-scrolling, so...
Some would say that I'm a bigger Rayman fan than you, by the sounds of it.
Why? Why would you say this?
Because I've played the new games.
Well, I haven't. I always got told they were really good. I just, I never went and played them.
They are really good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Rayman scared me as a kid, actually, because his body's made of objects that shouldn't exist together.
I didn't realise the Rayman was that old a franchise.
Yeah, it was on the original PlayStation. Rayman was. I think it was like Sony's attempted answer to Mario in many ways.
Yeah.
What's Ubisoft or whatever?
Well,
Sony didn't.
Yeah, sorry, it's Ubisoft, but it was the game on the PlayStation that was most compared to
Yeah.
Mario in many ways.
I've
Sorry,
never been a
Dylan.
fan of the art style of Rayman.
Oh man, try and play the new ones. The art's beautiful.
Very colourful, very.
Even if you don't like the character designs.
It's
level
highly
designs and
unlikely that
everything
I'll ever
else.
get to it.
No, you're not, because Tarkov's around. And World of Warcraft. No, Rayman freaked me out as a kid because his body doesn't connect. It's just a bunch of
It's like
bits
floating
and
bits.
bobs that are somehow managing to stay next to each other and work together inside that little tiny brain of his.
Yeah.
And it scared me.
It
Stuff like that
scared
scared
you?
me. Two kiddie cartoon games, or whatever you want to call them, scared me as a child. Number one, Rayman. No, number two's Rayman. Number one that scared me, Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. Scared
Really?
the shit out of me as a kid.
Abe's Odyssey scared the fuck out of me.
Abe,
Something-
obviously,
yeah.
I would
There's-
agree with Abe. Being
I don't know,
scary.
something about it being a little kid and playing as a guy of a race, the like slaves that get eaten, get mulched up and put into food. That really
Yeah,
terrified
that's fair.
me.
I think I never scared me, but I think I just laughed at it because you could press the button to make him fart. So maybe I was getting scared at some stage, and then I discovered that button, and because I couldn't beat the first or second level because I was a kid and I wasn't even good enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just like stand there in the corner, just like.
Oh my god.
Toilet humour, the best. Alright. My first one is on a console that I've never owned. I've never owned an Xbox, but it's Halo. I have a lot of fond memories of Halo 1, going over to my friends across the road and we'd just sit there all afternoon playing multiplayer or taking turns playing the campaign. I'll forever always think of being a stupid kid and the first mission was find Captain Keys, but I always thought it was find the Captain's keys. And I was looking everywhere for a set of keys.
Far
And
out.
just playing like 4-player split screen multiplayer with my brother and his brother, and we're just doing Chaps of Flag and Blood something Gulch. What was it called?
It's Blood Song Gulch.
That's one, yeah.
Yep.
And yeah,
Halo's like the pick. Like if I was making a, like not personal list, but like what do you think is the top 5 best launch games?
Yeah.
It's like where I think you'd put Halo on as an automatic
yeah.
pick, I think.
And I never had a launch console until Vita maybe, and then PS3 and PS4, so and Switch. But yeah. Halo. Good memories.
Halo. I
Halo,
played a lot of
what a
Halo.
game. I
I've
played
only ever
heaps.
played the multiplayer though.
Played
Halo
heaps
1's
of
the only one I really played.
I played Halo 1, I played Halo 2, I never played Halo 3.
Missing out.
Because-
Halo 3 was a great game.
Because when I was a kid, everyone's house I went around to never had PlayStations. All my friends had Xboxes. So it was always just like we'd sit down and play fucking Halo 1 or 2 whenever I ran around for sleepovers and stuff like that. Oh, you can put music on your USB and play it in the background while we kill the alien thing. I'm like, okay. I always like the gun design. I've never actually I have no idea what happens in those games, yet I've probably put a decent chunk of time into playing freaking split screen multiplayer.
Yeah.
Just because it was a game that was apparently constantly on in everyone's house. No one ever turned their Xboxes on either. It was just like always on, and the controller was just on the table. Like,
Yeah.
there you go.
Funny side story about that, playing music in the background. I remember getting my PSP and getting the GTA games, and you could put your own
Yes.
music on it. And I just put a fuckload of music on for your own private radio station.
Yep, so did I. It was awesome.
Good
It was a
times.
big, it was a big moment.
Wow, yeah, I
You
feel
pay
like
for that
you're missing out with
overpriced
that.
memory card.
GTA radio stations were the best.
No, but it was fun.
Not the
It was-
PSP ones; they weren't fantastic.
Oh, the Vice City one was good.
Oh yeah, V-Rock was good. I didn't listen to the other ones.
V. Haven't you got stuff to say about Halo, you fucking Xbox fanboy over there, Kieran?
I do, but I have Halo in my list, so I was like, I'll save it for later.
Ah, fair enough.
Dylan,
You should probably
it's over to
say
you.
that so I'm not staring at you like, what the fuck, Kieran? Say something.
Yeah.
Ready for my number 4. The Herbs Sims.
Oh
in
my
the City
fucking god! I saw
on
this
the
was a launch.
DS.
I saw this was a fucking launch game on a couple of consoles. And I was like, no,
I played
no.
so much of this game
fucking hell.
without even making it a joke. I played so. This is one of those things where I wrote it down. So I wrote, like with old top X 10, 5, 15 million lists. I write down a short list, and then you work from the short list to make the top 5 and put them in order.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down at the time because I'm like, yeah, that was a game I played a lot of. And then when I'm staring at it, and I'm staring at the other games I had, and I'm like, there's no way I can deny this. There's no way I can deny this because I had a DS launch. Not day one, but I had it within the first 3 months or something like that, I think, and had this freaking game. And all you did was play these mini games to get money, and you had to do jobs, and you had to basketball. It was just a bunch of mini games, and then you just walk around. And it had this soundtrack done by the Black Eyed Peas. And I was at the age where I fell in love with the Black Eyed Peas at this time. All I did was listen to them, so that was a high selling point of this thing. It was great. I don't think I ever finished it. I don't even know. I believe there was some sort of story. It was convoluted as hell. You're trying to get a job to be this thing, and then you meet mob bosses, and then a zombie bites you. And you're like, whoa, this took a spin for the sci-fi, and we're over here. But yeah, the herbs, Sims in the City.
I never played it on DS. I remember playing it on PS2.
Oh, there's differences. They changed the gameplay and everything, because obviously it can't work the same, but...
Because the herbs was more like The Sims on PlayStation 2. It was just a bit more street life.
Yeah, you street kids. Got to get them street jobs to meet them street dreams.
Got to make your apartment urban, yo.
Yeah, it's not racist. Every character in this was white. I mean, what?
They didn't have the technology to do different skin colors back then.
Yeah, Ubisoft made this game too.
The Sims?
Hell, Ubisoft.
Isn't that EA?
Yeah, that was a joke at Ubisoft's defense. The Assassin's Creed comment. Too hard to make girls because you need to make their boobs or whatever they said a year or two back.
Boob physics are very complicated.
Boob physics are very hard.
Have you
to
seen
get
Dead or
right.
That's
Alive? Fucking
Fair enough
volleyball.
on them. As a white male, I understand that.
All right, there's my number 4. Unless anyone's got questions, moving on.
Not at all.
No.
Kieran.
No, good old herbs. My number 4 was Time Splitters on PlayStation 2.
Interesting.
Which, for many people have that love for GoldenEye, for that multiplayer in GoldenEye. I have that same love, but for Time Splitters on PS2, because the campaign for that game was ridiculously hard, but fun. The multiplayer was awesome, and it had bullshit characters in it, like the monkey, which was pretty much Oddjob, because he was, had that same kind of style of targeting system as GoldenEye does. It was just, and I didn't know GoldenEye was a thing, and Time Splitters was just my baby, and then it evolved into Time Splitters 2 and 3 being such great games as well. It disappoints me that they don't make Time Splitters games anymore. Jumping through different periods of time, and how the different periods of time could bring out different characters and have different weapons and everything. It was so much fun and such a wide array of just, 1 minute you'll be in some kind of urban futuristic world, and the next minute you'll be in an Aztec temple. And I found that fantastic. I love all the Time Splitters games for various reasons, actually. Especially,
I've never played a single one. How many is there?
There's 3. There's 3.
Yeah,
There's Time Splitters 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, there's 3 Time
I
Splitters.
think I remember hiring 3 from the video store and playing that one weekend with my brother multiplayer, but that's my only experience with it.
And it wasn't just a first-person shooter. There was a lot of puzzles and things to work out in the campaign, and it was a very, it was almost a lot like what Deus Ex became in the end. But yeah, it was pretty heavy on the gunplay and everything for it. But I loved it. Shout out to Time Splitters. Give me another one, please.
I'll allow it. All right, my next one is NFL Street 2 for the PSP.
Oh my god, for the PSP.
For the PSP.
Fucking hell.
Did you get a PSP? When did you get your PSP?
On launch.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I still have the chunky one. The thumbstick's missing, but I still have it in the bedroom there with cross.
I got mine. I don't know. When did Vice City come out?
Not
that was a
few
bit
years,
later.
'cause I still had Liberty City before that.
Yeah, Liberty City.
Oh, no, Liberty City. Because I got mine when Liberty City came out.
Yeah.
Whatever the first one was.
Liberty City Stories, yeah.
Yeah. NBA.
NFL.
Oh, NFL.
NFL
Street
Street.
Street 2.
I remember sitting in the library at school just playing that when I'm meant to be studying. Probably explains why I'm in the position I am today in life, but
How
it's
were
worth it.
How were the Pats in that game? Were they good? Were they winners?
They're pretty good, yeah.
They were good.
They're at a time where I played it at a time before I really knew a whole lot about NFL. Like I had an interest in it, but I didn't really have an understanding of the game. And NFL Street was a lot more lax with the rules and all the technical stuff, and it had Exhibit in it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Gonna hit me up.
You
Gonna
created
pimp
your
that
own like
ride.
street crew and run around playing against other streets, and like you could build up this power meter and you'd activate it and they do flips over other players and all stuff like that.
What's the difference between me and you? About 4 or 5 inches, 6 something and something amount of vehicles.
Oh my god,
I don't
so
know.
I had the same experience with FIFA Street. FIFA Street
Oh, yeah.
on PlayStation 2 I really loved. Because yeah, I was really into soccer back then, and it was really cool to have like, you know, your favourite football players together, soccer players
Yeah.
together. It was fun.
And I've never played a street game again.
Oh really? It was just the one time love?
There was. What if they even made any more street games at all? Was there any on PS3? I don't think so.
I know there's been multiple FIFA Streets.
Yeah,
There's been NBA
street. Yeah,
Streets.
I think they're the only ones.
Maybe there might have been a hockey one. Maybe. I
I'm
don't
the
know.
last person you should look at.
Dylan, tell us. Give us
Dylan.
a...
Sports. Want my
Alright.
number 3?
Yes, over to you, Dylan.
Because I got a good tie-in. Wii Sports.
Fuck, I didn't
Number
even think
3.
of Wii Sports. That game by itself sold so many consoles.
This game got played a lot by everyone in my whole family, including people who have probably never played video games since this, as in like nans, pops, grandmas, grandpas. The fucking pets could play Wii Sports. It was so easy. You just chucked the doggle mouth in between their mouths and off they went. They was chucking tennis balls around. You know, like it was amazing. This was back before I became really jaded towards motion controls as well, because this was new and exciting at the time. And being that little stupid me thing on the screen and hitting the tennis racket and whatever the hell else she was doing was really exciting. And it was like, oh wow, like, and it didn't wear off fast either. It wasn't like, I remember playing like the really shitty, some of the Move games after this, of course, looked better, played better, but was still just like, nah, like this isn't going to hold the entertainment value. But when Wii Sports came out, it was new, it was exciting, it wasn't like super serious, you could play it with everyone, it was easy as all hell. And it was just, yeah, it was like a game. I was like, oh, motion controls, the future's here.
I can only remember playing tennis and bowling on that game. What were the other mini games on it? I don't know.
I actually don't even remember because
I've-
they're like only ones I played.
I've never touched a Wii or a Wii U.
I never touched a Wii U because it was a Fisher Price piece of crap.
Wii U was terrible. The Wii was an alright console.
It was okay.
I'll
got
stand by
fooled.
the Wii.
For some reason, I picked a Wii over an Xbox and I regretted it.
No, that's a bad decision. No one
Yeah,
said
it
to
was.
do that.
No, but that's because I saw some. I was young, and
'Cause the Wii
my
came
dad
out
showed
first,
me.
didn't it?
My dad showed me a video of Twilight Princess,
Yeah,
and the guy like swinging the sword around. I was like, "That's so cool!"
I remember being tempted by that too.
Yeah, fucking hell.
I read I played
I'm
Real
glad
Steel.
I didn't.
That was a good one. There was another. I can't remember what the game was called. One of my favorite games was this black and white one where you. it was
Oh,
a
you
brawler.
mean yeah? Exactly. And then
the fuck was that
the
called?
ad for it had Sound of Silence as the ad.
Yeah,
Can't
I think that
remember
was it.
The name and the
Oh.
only color in it was red from all the blood
Mad
and
World
stuff.
or something
Mad
like
World, yeah.
Mad World. It's Mad World. That was a good one, and that had the most. Mario Galaxies, of course, are fucking. They're like two of my top 3 Mario games as far as I'm concerned. I just love both those. It's probably why I liked Odyssey so much, because it's quite similar to the Galaxies, I think. And even they had waggle controls for a lot of the stuff, and I was fine with it. Because you just gave it a little shake, you'll do a spin and stuff. But
Yeah.
you didn't have to like point at the screen. It was just like while it was playing, you could just like give it a little bit of spin.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't have heaps of bad memories of the Wii. And as much as you can make fun of it now, and you can make fun about like the Wii Sports thing, this just came bundled in with the majority of the
Yeah.
consoles, unless you,
Like
you
Alex the
bought it
Kid.
separate for something reasons, stuff like that. And it was a free game that came with a console that gave most people hours and hours of entertainment and showed off the
Exactly.
console quite well. And it got people to be gamers that aren't gamers and to try out video games that never tried them before because of how accessible it is and stuff like that. So props as far as I'm concerned. It's a joke, but at the same time, you can't, when you're like, I'm serious, it's a good
You
thing.
can't deny it.
Can't deny the Wii Sports power. Yeah.
I'll allow it. Ciaran.
Going from when I just mentioned Zelda, Breath of the Wild was
Yeah.
the reason I bought a Nintendo Switch last year, and I love that console. I love it very much. But Breath of the Wild was something truly unique, especially with, it's a game that has a 10 to 20 second tutorial, and then it's like, okay, go. This is the world to explore. Go look around. Go see what's going on. And then, just for me, the thing that always blows my mind about that game is the sheer application of your thinking that can go into that game is ridiculous. Like, you want to fly somewhere high, if you set a tree on fire, like cut a tree down, set it on fire, you can use the upwind from that to sail your glider further. Or, if you need to get across the river, you can use a log as a boat and just chuck it into the water. There was so much customization to that game, as in, you could have the same puzzle or the same shrines puzzle, but everybody could have a completely different method to making it, to fixing it, or and Nintendo were totally for that. They were if you find a way to do this shrine in 2 seconds, do it. This is what this game's about.
Yeah, you often see videos of people freezing the ball. I saw one. It was a shrine where you had to take a block of ice up a ramp through all this different fire and stuff, and he just froze it and whacked it a few times, and it went up, hit the wall, and went into the thing it had to go down to. The thing with Breath of the Wild that blows me away compared to every other launch title is it's the first real launch title from a first-party studio that treats gamers like they have some intelligence and treats them with respect. It's just so mature in the design, especially for a launch title where you can go, all right, this is a launch title, we need to put in all the new fucking shebang to show off the console and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, show off the Switch's tech or what. There isn't a fuck ton of random shit to do. It's gyro controls or some random shit.
Exactly. It goes, here's the game, go at it. We're not going to tell you what to do or how to do it. We'll figure it out for yourself. It just treats gamers with so much respect and intelligence and stuff like that. Which I'm happy with.
And it's really good it came out too, because there was ages there where the Switch is coming, and the launch lineup for a while was 1-2 Switch and one other game, and that was it.
Yeah.
They hadn't said anything for ages. It was just those two games. It was just this thing's going to come out. It's going to be a nightmare. It's just going to sell like shit. It's going to have, 2 games? It's going to be garbage, and it's just going to be dump, and Nintendo's going to be fucked.
I was guilty of that. I was often saying, I can't wait for him to release games on other consoles and stuff like that.
I was in the same boat.
But it was hard not to. When you was watching their media lineup lead up to the launch and everything like that, it was just I still don't think they handled it well.
No. No way can you say that was a good
advertisement-wise and stuff like that. But when you announce Zelda's coming launch day, kind of fixes half your problems easy, I suppose. Especially when the game comes out and everyone's like, this Zelda game's one of the better ones in quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone's talking about it, and everyone's on buses playing a console Zelda game in their hands and stuff like that. You see everyone on Twitter going crazy that picks up the launch console. The days are passing. I'm seeing people being like, fuck, I wasn't going to get a Switch launch period, but now I have to get one. A couple weeks later, people are like, I wasn't going to get a Switch for 6 months, but now I have to get one because I keep saying. So yeah, it paid off for them between Zelda and the Switch just being shown off, I think.
Yeah, exactly. They've really come out of the gate firing.
Good job, Nintendo. I'm proud of you.
My next one is Batman Arkham VR.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I think the way that game made me feel in VR, it was just something else.
Is it still your go-to VR memory? Because it is for me.
Launch. It's a tie between that and the Star Wars Battlefront thing.
Yep.
But it being the first thing I played in VR, I think it leaves a bigger impact for me. And I love the Batman Arkham game universe, the story it tells and all that, just being involved and the story and just going in there, just the seamlessness of reaching down to grab a batarang without even looking and throwing it and stuff like that. It was just...
That is my favourite moment. The moment I realized that I didn't look down because there was, for a lot of that game, I kept looking down, being like, there's the batarang, there's the gun, and you'd look and you'd grab it and you'd look back up, move your head.
Yeah.
And then the first moment I realized I just put my hand down while keeping my head straight looking and just threw it without even paying attention, like it was a real life situation happened. I threw the batarang and then it suddenly hit me that I just did it. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's cool. Like, that's there. I didn't even look, like it exists there without me looking at it.
Exactly. And I think the bonus thing about it too is it's so accessible for people that aren't gamers to experience it as well. Like, if you have an interest in Batman, like, it's easy enough to go put him in. The fact of just, at the beginning, you grab the cowl and you put it on, you go down the bat elevator into the cave and see all the stuff.
Yeah, I chucked my X under it.
Oh.
I wish he'd stayed in VR, though.
In the VR kingdom. The VR king. Yeah.
I didn't play it first, but it is still my go-to. What's still my go-to, like, memory of any VR game, because it's still got the most wow factor for me, straight up. I played the shooting one on the
VR Worlds, the London Heist.
VR Worlds. I played that first, and that was kind of cool. Had a cool moment just at the start where you're loading that up and you see like all these sparks flying towards your face and all that sort of stuff. They're like kind of just building you into VR nicely on that disc, like slowly. So I tried out that first, and I tried the luge thing and made myself sick. Then I took like a half-hour to hour break to have lunch. I remember, because I took the day off for VR when VR came out.
I remember I was sick that day.
Yeah, I was just like annual leave. I just took annual leave, and then I took like an hour for lunch or whatever. And I was like, okay, time for Batman. I've warmed up. Had to get there eventually. Yeah. Booted that sucker up. Stood up. Because I recorded a Let's Play for it also. I was like, I'm going to record this. I'm a cool kid. Cool YouTube gamer kid. And that was like a full... Because it only takes like an hour to play through.
Yeah.
Just do the whole thing. And did you play it standing up?
I did, yeah.
Because I can't imagine playing that standing up. Playing it standing up with a decent amount of space around you where you can walk forward a bit and lean over the buildings and all that sort of stuff, and just hearing the noises and throwing the batarangs, and the first moment you go down the cave and put that on the cow. Yeah, it was great. That's a great game.
It was.
10 out of 10.
Good launch title.
My number 2 is Vita Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is we was just talking about the Switch having like launch game with none of the shit chucked in to make use of the features. Admittedly, Golden Abyss is a fucking shocker for this. It uses literally everything the Vita can do.
It's like you want to climb, you better touch the back of the freaking...
Yep. You got to do like a hand thing on the back. You got to like wipe the screen for stuff. The worst thing in the whole game is the point where you have to shine a light into the camera on the thing so it can light something. Yeah, it's like hold this up to a light. I remember there was a point I was laying in my bed when I was doing my crushing playthrough of it, and I'm just trying to concentrate, relax in fucking bed at like 9 or 10 p.m. at night, just trying to play through the game. It's like shine the light in the back of the camera, like, oh, for fuck's sake, and like lean over, turning my bedside lamp on, like fucking here, like turning it off. With all this said, still one of my favorite memories was picking this up early in the morning, my Vita. I was so pumped for the Vita to come out. Was there at 7 a.m. or whatever at my EB Games. Me and my friend, the only 2 people, there to pick it up at that time in the morning. Getting home, unboxing it, and I was super happy with the console itself. I just remember being like so excited about it, turning it on, being like, this is great, and then booting up Uncharted and just being like, fuck, this is great. This is in my hands. I'm playing basically what seems like a full console Uncharted game, and it looks amazing and it's playing well, and none of these features that we complain about now, like the touch screen, none of that was annoying me at the time. Yeah, because I was like, the shooting feels great. I've got 2 analog sticks on this, especially because I played my PSP a shit ton. Like, I was a big PSP fan. I played a lot of my PSP in the back room of my maths class, like too much, and that's how I am where I am. But so I was like super pumped just having the 2 lives. Yeah, basically. I had the 2 analog sticks and just the graphics on that thing. It was just one of those. It was one of those wow moments. And I think for launch games, it's admittable and it's fine to just say you were suckered in easily by graphics and shiny things and stuff like that. Because of course you're going to be. You're not going to. You're going to worry about the gameplay or any of these things. Like this game could play like hot garbage, and I wouldn't have admitted that to now or whenever months later down the track. But at the time, I would have been like, wow, look how pretty it is. It looks like it's on the... It basically looks the same as my console and PS3 Uncharted games. Oh, it's great.
Now you look at it after playing 4K, you go, this is hot garbage.
Yeah, basically. And I still think Golden Abyss is better than the first Uncharted game.
I can't... I tried to play Golden Abyss because I was a late adopter to PS Vita, and I just can't play it. It's just something about the controls... The way it works is I just can't manipulate it. That was like that with Mercenary too. Like I couldn't play it. I don't know. Like games on the Vita, I play Danganronpa, which is hardly ever fucking controls.
The last boss fight in Uncharted is a quick time event, but the quick time event is swiping on the screen.
Yeah.
And I nearly threw my Vita across the room playing it on Crushing. Because, of course, they're like, oh, well, because you're on Crushing and the last boss fight's just a quick time event, we're going to make all the swipings like really hard and faster and stupid degrees of angles and all sorts of weird shit you have to do, like swipe from the bottom up, half circle, doodle. And I was like, I was basically digging my nails into the screen by the end of that, fucking dying like 50 million times. Because you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Because it's not like when you die in a real boss fight and you respawn, and if you go shoot someone, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
He'll say the same shitty line at you, like, oh, I'm going to come get you. But you could move left, you can move right, there's variation. This is just a movie scene that I'm watching over and over with the fucking swipings on the screen. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. However, still one of my favourite launch games, Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Did you have any other launch games for the Vita?
I got Uncharted, I got Dungeon something, Alliance or something like that was another launch game. I got like 3 or 4, I think, actually. Was Luminous a launch game? I think I got Luminous. It was like close to, but I think I picked up 3 day one.
Yeah.
And then the Sound Shapes and stuff shortly after that, I think. That was played a lot of. I feel like Sound Shapes wasn't far after. But I remember my friend getting 0 games.
All right. Ciaran.
Number 2, we've already talked about it a little bit. Halo Combat Evolved is one of my favourite launch games of all time. Just the amount of hours I put into that game, both the campaign and the multiplayer in it, just playing with friends, has the best pistol that has ever been in a game ever, because that pistol was pretty much a fucking sniper rifle and it was bullshit. No. The original, just the OG pistol, you could play the entire game through with it. And even like the people who created it came out and were like, Bungie came out and were like, yeah, that pistol was a bit broken. Pistol was a tad bit broken. But it was such a fantastic game. And I think even just the scale of the levels in that game, which I don't think had been done before in many games before that, like just the sheer scale of, I remember getting lost in like the 2nd or 3rd level where you're driving a warthog around. Just getting lost and being like, where the fuck do I go? And this is so big, and how is this all the same level? But for me, it was such a interesting, and I think it was one of my first experiences with an Xbox was Halo, and that game just blew it out of the water. Just the enemy designs, just even like the small changes, like, the skulls changing the gameplay so much. So, like grunts, love grenades being my favorite because there's just grenades flying fucking everywhere. But it was just such a step up where it was like, oh shit, Xbox is a kind of a contender, isn't it? Eh? Like, for me, in my mind, I was always a PlayStation fanboy until that moment when I was like, oh, okay, there's something other than PlayStation here to look at.
How old were you when it came out?
So it was like 2004?
Sperm.
So I'd have been 10.
It's funny you say that. Like, I remember at that time coming out, like, you had your favourite, like, I was a PS2, like, I had a PS2 because that was given to me. Like, I had a choice between that and a GameCube, and I chose PS2. But at that time, I don't ever remember thinking that way about the industry. Like, when you look back at it, like, you think it like that, but I remember myself not thinking of it like that, and just thinking, oh, these are games, I'm playing them.
Yeah, these are
games, I can have this one
console.
Dad said I can have this one console, and that's it. Yeah.
No, for me, it was very much, I love PlayStation. PlayStation, my thing. Yeah. I had PlayStation 1, I moved to a PlayStation 2. And then after the PlayStation 2, instead of getting a PlayStation 3, I moved to Xbox 360, and that's where my love.
No, you
for
moved to
the-
Wii.
Pardon?
You moved to Wii.
No, I refuse to admit that. That's a dark point in my life. Right, moving right along.
All right. My next one is Battlefield 4 for the PS4. It was released on the previous console, but it was, to me, it's a launch game on PS4. Like, the Battlefield 4 was very controversial in its release because of it was people said it was buggy and there was bugs and connection issues and stuff like that. But I personally never had any of those issues myself, and I have put like that game I played, would even still play if I didn't have a PC now. Like, the amount of hours I've put into that game and the enjoyment I've got out of it just make it a top tier launch game for me. And just having those kind of visuals on a console as well is just phenomenal. And the bump up to, like, in PS3 it had lower play limits compared to the PC version, but this was the first time on console.
They're full conquest maps.
Yeah, full conquest, 64 players.
Yep.
And just having that experience in the console was just amazing to me. And that's what I live for, those type of games. Like military type shooters, multiplayer, that kind of stuff.
I got it launch day as well.
Yeah.
Loved it. Same thing. It was just like finally I played all the Battlefields. Oh no, I never played I never played Battlefield 1 or 2, but I played every Battlefield, including the PC one horribly, the future one at some
2142. I've owned every Battlefield game.
Yeah. So I was like really excited to play it, finally experience like proper conquest maps and all that sort of stuff. And it was great to boot it up. Graphics were amazing. Heaps of people in the thing, jumped into conquest, running around. It felt fucking crazy to have the amount of people running around at the same time. Finally felt like I was experiencing the game.
How
it was kind of meant to be played. Yeah. Even though in like all the other Battlefields, my go-to mode is just rush. I don't like, that's still my favorite mode, is just rush.
Yeah.
And I don't really care for conquest, but it was still nice to finally experience the full.
Have something other than Rush 2 play.
Yeah, like it wasn't open. It wasn't just like, well, this mode will be half-assed. It was a full option.
Yeah.
That was great. Since we're on Battlefield, now I want to know, which is your favorite Battlefield game?
I have a soft spot for Battlefield 1942, the original, but
did you
the
play?
one I've probably put the most hours into is Battlefield 4, but I really enjoy Battlefield 1 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play the downloadable one?
1943. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing
I put a lot
Wake
of hours
Island
into that.
over and over and over again.
Yeah. Played so much of that, like a ridiculous amount for like the cheap downloadable thing.
And it wasn't even, good.
It was fine.
It was great for the price, but...
For the price, it was like $15-$20 or whatever it was. My favourite is Bad Company 2. Still has to be Bad Company 2.
Yeah, Bad Company 2.
I can understand that, yeah.
Destructible environments in that on PS3 were great. The Vietnam DLC is still my favourite DLC for any Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Like the flying in the chopper with what's the song called? Tucson. What's the song called? You know, like you'd know it if you heard it. Anyway, plays in the trailer. It's in like all those Vietnam movies and stuff like that. Be flying the chopper with the song playing, or you'd like someone would come to pick you up and the songs would be hanging off the side of the chopper. You jump in and stuff like that. Flamethrower in that was fucking fantastic, and the campaign story is still, as far as I haven't played Battlefield 1, but the campaign story in that is still my
Battlefield 1
favorite.
has like one of the vignettes is one of my favorite things of like storytelling in games.
Which vignette?
The first one where you're the aeroplane.
tanker?
Pardon?
The first one you play is the first one you play is a British soldier. And then
It'd be the second one, and it'd be the pilot.
Yeah.
Who the pilot?
Yeah, the US pilot.
Yes. Yeah. Because I love the ending of that so much. It's ridiculous.
Although one of the missions in that is frustrating on the hardest, where you're on the turret on the top of the Zeppelin trying to shit all the planes.
Yeah.
That was pain. But yeah.
We down to my number one?
Dylan, is your number one the only number one that's acceptable in this case?
Maybe.
Is it a Nintendo game?
It's Knack.
Nope.
No, god damn it.
I picked up Knack launch day also, but yeah.
All right.
I did. I was that guy.
All right.
It is a PS4 game.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag is my number one. Because the PS4 is my only home console that I've picked up on launch day, so it has very fond memories in my head. Just coming home with that console for a start with the games. I remember I went into EB Game early in the day because you could pick up the games earlier and then get the console and just rush out of it at midnight. And I remember I got Assassin's Creed, I got Knack, I got Battlefield or whatever. Something else, I swear. I had like 4. Went overkill because it was my first console launch and I was fucking pumped as. Get home and Assassin's Creed was the first game that I booted up to try out. And it was my first like, wow, the water is so pretty. The water... Like climb up to the top of my first like synchronization point and just like looking around on the ship, and like the draw distance was so much further than the PS3 could handle. There was no like the ridiculous fog of war wasn't like surrounding me at my feet and stuff like that. It was an upgrade in technology that I could appreciate straight away without it being as obvious as going from PS2 to PS3, where like the character models and stuff like that were a lot more noticeable. But this was just like, oh, my character, I'm not like dropping frames randomly running around this corner, or like it's not loading every 10 seconds. No fog of war right at my ankles. Oh, look at the water, the textures. Oh my God, look, run across these plants. I'm like, this grass textures are so much better than what I've been putting up with.
I can attest to that too, because like I bought it 3 weeks earlier on PS3 because it was one of those games where if you bought it on the previous generation, you could get an upgrade, downloadable upgrade, so you could play it off that. And I played it for like, I don't know, 5 hours on the PS3 before I got it on the PS4, and just the jump, as you said, like the jump was phenomenal. I spent so many hours just riding around listening to sea shanties hunting whales.
Yeah, well, that's not even to say that Black Flag is still my favourite Assassin's Creed game to this day. Not just because of these memories, but it also turned out to be a really fantastic game. And that's why I think it stands in my memory so hard, is because it was console launch, all these things. I'm just like, wow, 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 wow. And then I continued playing it, woke up next morning, because of course I took the day off, and just played a fuck ton of Assassin's Creed the next day. I was loving it as a game and then loving it as a launch experience also. So it was great. Yeah. Fantastic. Number one.
I agree. And the funny thing is, it was at its best when it wasn't dealing with the Assassin's crap.
That's how most Assassin's Creed games are.
Fucking hell. Right, my number one. Going back to, which is very weird considering my list, but there is one on the Nintendo title on my list, I guess, is Mario 64. Because I think, looking back at history, that jump from where they were pre-64 and then looking at Mario 64 as a launch game is insane. Even just like the technical prowess of that game and the stuff that the developers had to do to make that game work and be what it is, was amazing. Like, you know, how they had to make everything that Mario could jump over had to be the perfect size, like had to be this exact size for him to be able to jump because of just how they made it. And it was the first proper game they've made fully in 3D. So there was a lot of technical decisions and marvels that had never been made before that these people had to take on and challenge and create. So for me, I think my favorite launch title, would be Mario 64.
The crazy thing about that too is how forward thinking they were as well. Like you look at every other 3D platformer, say on PlayStation or Nintendo 64, they were kind of like the Crash type of thing where it was 3D like polygons, but you're still essentially going on a kind of like 2.5D type plane.
Yep.
The amount of time that it took developers to catch up to that kind of game making was ridiculous. Do you have anything to say about Mario, Dylan?
Nah, it's fine. Whatever. I played it way too late.
Yeah.
I think I played it, by the time I played it for the first time, I think was around PS2. I was the current gen, whatever gen that is. And someone pulled out the 64 at someone's house, and I attempted to play it, and I couldn't use the freaking controller. I hated it. It was just a nightmare, and I think it just ruined my memory. Like, any hope of me liking that game was ruined by just going, this controls like hot fucking garbage. And I was like, I'm sure back in the day, whatever, maybe it was cool, but this is terrible. Hey Dylan, let's play GoldenEye. Sure, let's have a go at GoldenEye. I don't know how. I can't play. I'm just gonna go smoke cigarettes in the corner. Bye.
Far out.
All right.
Disappointed.
My last one is Motorstorm on the PS3.
Is that a launch game?
It was in Australia. Yep.
Oh.
My dad, and my brother. I just remember sitting there taking turns playing that, just handing the controller around because for some reason they didn't have split screen multiplayer. But yeah, just the destruction and the different vehicles you could have. It was kind of like a modern day Road Rage, even Road Rush.
Yeah.
Just the way if you crash and bail and the shit would just fly off, and there was just like all the detail and the destruction, and the tracks were phenomenal, and just the way even all the different vehicles had handled, because you had like the 4-wheel drive, the dune buggies, the motorcycles, the quads, all the different kind of stuff. It makes me sad that Evolution is shut down now and we're not going to.
Me too, because I loved Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, the Apocalypse.
Apocalypse
It was
was
shitty when it
fucking
got
amazing.
delayed because of the earthquake wherever that was.
Yeah, unfortunate. And that
Yeah.
kind of fucked them a bit.
But yeah,
but
that was a
that game was
fantastic
great.
game. Yeah.
Original Motorstorm was another. I think it. I don't know what you'd say the exact detail was, but I remember the first time playing it, and that was like another like next gen car racing wow moment. It must have been
Yeah.
like how close it was, plus like the whatever you'd call the effect where you're moving really fast and you'd see like the kind of ripples on the side type
Yeah,
stuff
blur.
like that. But then like nothing's the motion. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Motion blur, but then like nothing's blurred around you. Like you can
Yeah.
still see everything, but motion blur and all that sort of stuff. I just loved it.
Yeah.
I love Motorstorm. It was great. Not
great.
a real serious racer, just
No,
fun,
it was a good arcade racer.
ridiculousness,
And
cool
it's
soundtrack.
what you needed in a launch title as well to show it off.
And I also think that game made mud look good. Like
It did, yeah.
normal like a brown crappy mud was just nothing. But that game made it glisten, made it look really nice, and that's how good that game looked.
And what other racing game can you drive a big rig and have it competitive against dune buggies and motorbikes?
They didn't control like hot garbage either. That's
No,
the
they
thing.
didn't. Like there was the tracks split off into different things. Like the big rigs could plough through the mud easily, where motorcycles had to take like a side path up the side and over the top and all that kind of thing.
And if you was on a bike, you there'd usually be like smaller,
Yeah.
more like riskier things you could often take. that you
Exactly,
could crash
yeah.
easier, but
If you're in like a 4-wheel drive, you can just fucking run over motorcycles to get them out of your way and stuff.
yeah,
It was great.
That sounds great.
I loved it. All right, so that's. Does anyone have any honourable mentions?
No, not really.
No, I'm pretty
No?
good, thank you very much.
Pretty good.
Tetris
Tetris.
on the Game Boy.
Fair enough. I just want to make honourable mention of Marvel Ultimate Alliance on PS3 and Lego Marvel Superheroes on PS4. I
Fair
enjoyed
enough.
those as well.
Honorable mention, actually, Luigi's Mansion on GameCube.
Yep. I'll allow it. Alright, that has been the launch episode of Top 5 with Nick, and I'm Nick. You can find me at Lord Empire. You can find Dylan at...
Viva la Dil. VIVALADIL.
You can find Ciaran at...
Your boy Ringo.
You can find all other Explosion Network content over at explosionnetwork.com. You can find Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. If you have any suggestions for topics or themes for seasons, you can email don't@explosionnetwork.com. And this has been the inaugural episode. I hope you enjoyed it and stick around. Thanks. Bye.
Go buy that copy of Herbs, people.